we can start now. It's 8 o'clock, so we can start. So this we have to redo. So I will read each line, and if necessary we'll discuss, otherwise we'll go on. Okay. So previous para, he has told us that if you want to go to the divine, you have to purify yourself. What do you have to purify? The easiest part to purify, relatively easy, is the mind. Then you have to purify the vital, and then finally the body, which is very difficult. Only the supramental race will be able to purify the body. Okay? Purifying the body means it should be absolutely free of disease, the functioning of all the organs should be perfect, and the last step, even conquest of death. So here now this chapter, he is discussing how to purify the mind. The purified understanding. Our understanding is all confused. We never come to the real knowledge. Okay? Why? Because there are constantly thoughts coming. And movement of thoughts is going to create chaos. When there is no movement at all, and you are absolutely calm and quiet and looking at things objectively, then the understanding is much better. So, I'll read the summary of what she said earlier, and then we'll read the line by line, the paragraph that we have to read today. Okay? So, okay. There is no summary of the previous one, so I read the next paragraph. Such a passage from the human to the divine, from the divided and discordant to the one, from the phenomenon of the eternal truth, such an entire rebirth or a new birth of the soul must necessarily involve two stages. One of preparation, in which the soul and its instruments must become... Oh, we have to record, no? Is the recording being done?
Yes, Ranga.
Okay, fine. Okay, so from the phenomenon to the eternal truth, such an entire rebirth or a new birth of the soul must necessarily involve two stages. One of preparation, in which the soul and its instruments must become fit, and another of actual illumination and realization in the prepared soul through its fit instruments. Now, we'll look at each word and see what he's saying. First of all, a passage from the lower to the higher, from the human to the divine. And he's giving you characteristics of that. So you can write on one side human, and you can write on another side divine, and then each one under human and divine you can go on adding whatever he has said in the next few lines. Okay? From the divided and discordant to one. So under divine you can write one. From the human you can write divided, the many, the multiplicity. And that multiplicity is not simple, it is discordant. All the elements of that multiplicity are quarreling among themselves. In other words, to be more practical, in your own being, your mind and your vital and your body are not at all harmoniously working. What the vital wants, the mind often does not want. What the mind wants, the body refuses to act. Okay? Sometimes there is a harmony between vital and the body. Okay? The vital wants to enjoy something, okay? Even if you have got diabetes, you want to eat a sweet, and the body consents. Or sometimes it does not consent by having a reaction. Okay? So all these things are constant discordance. There is a disharmony between mind, vital and body. There is a constant disharmony. So that is why we have difficulties. So, then from the phenomenon to the eternal truth. So under the human, write eternal truth, and under under human, write phenomenon. What does phenomenon mean? Something transitory. So you can write under human, transition, okay? Temporal, temporality, and on the other one, permanence, eternal truth. So all these characteristics he is giving so usefully, he is giving us extra information. Such an entire rebirth or a new birth. Now what does this mean? He's saying it can be a rebirth or a new birth. The new birth can be the first time spiritual experience. And the entire rebirth means you have already had an experience and you have come down to the normal consciousness and now again it goes up, it's a rebirth. Okay? So, or a new birth of the soul must necessarily involve two stages. One of preparation, in which the soul and its instruments, which are the instruments of the soul? Mind, life and body. Okay? Must become fit. And another of actual illumination. So it's like preparing for an examination, okay? And then you pass the examination. You take 3-4 years to study for IAS or whatever, and then finally you pass it. So these are the two stages. One of preparation, in which the soul and its instruments must become fit, and another of actual illumination and realization in the prepared soul. You remember he has told you in the previous para that there are 3 stages. Huh? One is, you remember the 3 stages? There is experience, vision, experience and realization. So, actual illumination in vision can be vision and illumination and finally realization. Realization means now what you have experienced is permanent. Before that, you may have a spiritual experience, but then you come down again, it's only temporary. But then you have understood what that higher condition is, and you try again and again to get it, finally it becomes realization, permanent status. You can't come down after that into the lower nature. In the prepared soul, through its fit instruments, before you are trying, when you are trying to do, the instruments are not fit. Okay? The mind is constantly moving, the vital is constantly having desires, attachments, and the body also is full of disease. Everybody's body, nobody is perfect. So, after the instruments become fit, then the light can descend into you. The light cannot come down into a dark area. Okay? So, when the conditions are right, then the light can come down. There is indeed no rigid line of demarcation in sequence of time between these 2 stages. They are rather they are necessary to each other and continue simultaneously. In other words, even when you have had some spiritual experience, okay, the effort has to continue until it becomes permanent. That's what he means by no rigid demarcation. It's not like going from class 1 to class 2 to class 3 as in a school. So sometimes you get a double promotion and then you come down again. Okay? So there is in this spiritual field it's like that. For in proportion as the soul becomes fit, it increases in illumination and rises to higher and higher, completer and completer realizations. Now note the word, what is the difference between higher and completer? Higher means in height and completer means horizontal expansion. Okay? So, this is what he means. As you keep going higher and higher, your understanding improves, but that understanding is now practicable. It can be practiced even in the lower fields and you understand so much more horizontal. So, there is a vertical improvement and there is a horizontal improvement also. Okay? And in proportion, now note very interestingly that in integral yoga, you need both higher and completer. But in the other yogas, you want only higher. You are not interested in the complete because you are going to reject the body mind life. Okay? So, only in the integral yoga you need higher and more complete also because you are not rejecting the physical world. Okay? And in proportion as these illuminations and these realizations increase, becomes fit and its instruments more adequate to their task. Now, what he's saying here also we'll have to look in proportion as these illuminations and these realizations increase. How can a realization which is realized increase? Because your realization may be in knowledge, but it may not be in power, it may not be in ananda. In fact, when you go to the self, there is usually knowledge and a calm peace. But there is usually no immediate power. And Ananda can come without the knowledge. So that's why he is saying these illuminations and these realizations. Realization is not only one, it is plural. These realizations increase, becomes fit, and its instruments more adequate to their task. Every experience that you have, you are improving your conditions. There are soul seasons of unillumined preparation and soul seasons of illumined growth and culminating soul moments more or less prolonged of illumined possession. Okay? Long time. Moments are transient like the flash of lightning, yet change the whole spiritual future. Moments also that extend over many human hours, days, weeks, in a constant light or blaze of the sun of truth. Now, he's so all-inclusive. Okay? So now we look at what he's saying. There are soul seasons of unillumined preparation. Okay? You are going on trying. You have had many spiritual experiences. But still, you have to go on trying. Because you have to make it. Not only you have to ascend to those and permanently station yourself there, but that is only half the work. After that is done, whatever you have experienced on the first floor, you have to bring it down to the ground floor. You have to apply that truth in the body-mind life, in the ground floor. You have to, these are the things that you have to, even after you have experienced the first floor illumination, you have to bring it down to the ground floor. And there you come down to the ground floor, but you are still in darkness. So you have to keep on trying. Okay? Soul seasons of illumined growth and culminating soul moments. Sometimes you can have a tremendous experience and look at how it can come. More or less prolonged of illumined possession. So let me tell you, one boy, I met him in the press. He came and told me that for a few seconds he went out of his body. Okay? And when you go out of your body, all the difficulties of mind, life, body disappear. And you get tremendous amount of knowledge. And then you come down into your body again after 2-3 seconds. But now you remember. Okay? But you are not, it's only a remembrance, not a realization. So it can be like that. Okay? Prolonged or illumined possession. Moments are transient like a flash of the lightning. As I said, only a few seconds. But it can also be for 2-3 hours. And it can be also for 6 months, 7 months. No spiritual experience right in the beginning can be permanent. It cannot be. You have to go on trying. First you get, then you know what you have to do, and then you have to go on trying until it becomes permanent. Okay? Yet, change the whole spiritual future. Moments also that extend over many human hours, days, weeks, in a constant light or blaze of the sun of truth. Note interestingly that he is talking of human hours, days and weeks, but he is not talking of months and years. Because when that happens, then it is permanent. Okay? So, this is, in fact, one, I think I mentioned last time, he is writing to Motilal Roy in Chandranagar. Motilal Roy was a slight businessman and Sri Aurobindo was helping him, and Pravartak Sangho, that was the name of his organization, and he became tremendously successful because Sri Aurobindo was pouring everything into him. Okay? Insurance business and other businesses, okay? Everything, he was flourishing. But one day, when mother came into the picture, he had to give up his room here in Pondicherry. And that annoyed him a little bit. And then he himself was not receiving the help that he was giving earlier. And that Pravartak Sangho just slowly disappeared. All the businesses failed and all that. When I went to Chandranagar, on the bank of the Ganga, I saw this Pravartak Sangho, and the old building was just a dilapidated house, small room. Okay? So it completely collapsed. Okay? Because he was not... So he is writing to Motilal Roy in the days when he was cooperating. He said, I was in Parabrahman consciousness for several hours. This is what he's talking of here. Moments also that extend over many human hours, sometimes days, weeks. I know of one person here in Pondicherry who had experiences of Brahmic consciousness for more than 6 months. Okay? Then slowly it disappears. It can happen with a psychic being also. The blaze of light and the fire that operates in you lasts for some time until your impurities of the vital pull you down. So it can last for, but you are never the same person again after the initial experience. Inwardly you have changed, but others will not see. They will continue to see your defects. And they will think that, oh, this man is claiming all sorts of things, but he is most ordinary. But that's not true, because the inner being changes entirely. Not entirely, partially. Okay? And I read this sentence now. Okay? And through all these, the soul, once turned Godwards, grows towards the permanence and perfection of its new birth and real existence. So, note the word real existence, because we are identified with the soul, and that is the only permanent reality. Your body-mind life is impermanent, time-bound realities. So therefore they are less real than the soul reality. But when you go to the self, the Buddhists and the Mayavadins, they see this temporal reality as total unreality and they reject it. Okay? But Sri is not rejecting. Okay? He says it's a temporal reality, not a real reality. Okay? And now we go to the next para. Who will read?
Excuse me.
Go ahead.
Right in the beginning, how does one prepare the soul?
That is the process of yoga. And each yoga has got its own methods. If you are interested in your elimination of the mind, you follow Jnana Yoga. If you are interested in the development of your love and adoration and bhakti for the divine, you use the Bhakti Yoga method. They are all different methods. And what we are discussing now is the integral yoga method. So, the integral yoga method, the one way you can do it very simply, to put it simply, remember the synthesis is 800 pages long. But to put it very, very simply, you have to surrender to the Divine Mother. You have to tell her to do the work in you. And this is not only in words. Your whole mind must be concentrated on the Divine. Remembrance, total remembrance and reliability. There should be no doubt at all. You must constantly call the Mother to remove the imperfection that you watch and see carefully in yourself. You have to be ruthlessly realistic and sincere about seeing the defects in yourself. Don't think that these defects are personal. Oh, I am inferior to these. No, not at all. All the defects are there in the physical world for everybody. Okay, that is what you have to realize. Without being depressed and thinking that I am imperfect, okay, you must see the imperfection like just watching a machine not working. Calmly, quietly, you repair the machine. That's exactly what you have to do with yourself. Without depression, without being discouraged, you have to go on. And what is the method of that? Remembrance. Remembrance and offer. Remembrance and offer. That means you are surrendering to the Divine. You have to make the effort of remembrance. If you make an effort yourself and try to change your vital, you will not succeed. It's only the Divine power that can do that for you. Okay? Other yogas will say you can do it, and they are right to a certain extent. But in the integral yoga, the method is very, very clear. Surrender to the Divine Mother. She will do for you what you cannot do by your imperfect instruments of body, mind, life. Okay? So that's what is. How to do? This is the way. Constant remembrance and offer all your imperfections to the Divine for correction. Okay? So there was one person who asked Mother in the class, Mother, when we come to you, okay, there is a little bit of fear that I have got so many wrong thoughts, so many wrong vital desires. So when I come to you, there is a little bit of a fear. And I try to hide these things from you. So how to do this? What to do? Mother said, don't hide them. Offer them to me and I will take care of the rest. Okay? So that's exactly what you have to do. Instead of being depressed that I am selfish, okay, I have wrong thoughts, okay, I have got so many defects, you must offer them to the mother sincerely. And that sincerity is not easy because the vital is very, 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 very insistent on its own desires, attachments and ego movements. This is the problem of the vital. Okay? So that's what you have to do. Yasmin, you asked how to do it. In integral yoga, there is the best way. It's the most difficult, but it's the best way if you want a total transformation of body-mind life. Okay? Remember and offer. Remember and offer. Remember mother in everything. Even when you are going out for work, okay, you are starting from your home, remember her and keep remembering her through all the journey to your place of work. Okay? You have a surgery today, you are taking a taxi or your own vehicle and going, but keep mind all the time, the leaning towards the mother. Even when you are doing the surgery, okay, remember mother and ask her to move your hands in the right way. It has to be absolutely to the last detail. Let her even guide your hand in the surgeries. Okay? That way. When you are doing some particular work, okay, even that work can be even sweeping the floor. In dining hall, so many were told to sweep the floor. That work also can be done by remembering the divine. Okay? Shall we go
Thou
to the...
art the worker and the work.
Yes.
Thou art the worker and the work. I'm
Yes.
just an instrument.
Okay.
And Amal had once told me about remember and offer because mother herself had told him that.
Hmm.
And then once Amal told me that the mother accepts everything. Your black money also and your white money also.
Yeah. That's right. Amal had a very developed mind, but there was a psychic element in him. And the psychic element actually saved him. His mind was overactive. Very, very intellectual, highly intelligent and intellectual. But that can also be, in ordinary life it can be a very big help. But in the spiritual life, an overactive mind can be a great hindrance. Okay? But he had a saving grace of the psychic element in him. He also had the experience of going out of his body, if you remember. Okay. Okay, we read the next one. The first necessity of preparation. Yasmin, did you read?
Yes, please.
Go ahead. The first necessity.
The first necessity of preparation is the purifying of all the members of our being, especially for the path of knowledge, the purification of the understanding. The key that shall open the door of truth and a purified understanding is hardly possible without the purification of the other members. An unpurified heart, an unpurified sense, an unpurified life confuse the understanding, disturb its data, distort its conclusions, darken its seeing, misapply its knowledge. An unpurified physical system clogs or chokes up its action. There must be an integral purity. Here also, there is an interdependence. For the purification of each member of our being profits by the clarifying of every other. The progressive tranquilization of the emotional heart, helping, for instance, the purification of the understanding, while equally a purified understanding imposes calm and light on the turbid and darkened workings of the yet impure emotions. It may even be said that while each member of our being has its own proper principles of purification, yet it is the purified understanding That in man is the most potent cleanser of his turbid and disordered being, and most sovereignly imposes their right working on his other members. Knowledge, says the Gita, is the sovereign purity. Light is the source of all clearness and harmony, even as the darkness of ignorance is the cause of all our stumblings. Love, for example, is the purifier of the heart. And by reducing all our emotions into terms of divine love, the heart is perfected and fulfilled. Yet love itself needs to be clarified by divine knowledge. The heart's love for God may be blind, narrow and ignorant, and lead to fanaticism and obscurantism. It may even, when otherwise pure, limit our perfection by refusing to see Him except in a limited personality and by recoiling from the truth and infinite vision. The heart's love of man may equally lead to distortions and exaggerations in feelings, action, and knowledge, which have to be corrected and prevented by the purification of the understanding.
Yeah. Interesting para. He is giving you exactly your question was how to do. He is telling you how to do. Okay. Very, very practical. It's not theoretical at all. So we'll have a look at what he's saying. The first necessity of preparation is the purifying of all the members of our being. So, purifying of the mind, purifying of the vital, purifying of the body. How to do also, he is telling us exactly each one. What is the characteristic of mind, characteristic of vital and characteristic of body, he is not yet told, but he will tell. Okay. We can also find out our own way of doing it. The purification of the understanding, that is the mind, the key that shall open the door of truth. So, for the path of, especially for the path of knowledge, that is Jnana Yoga. When you are doing Jnana Yoga, it is most important to purify the mind. And he will tell you how to do it. What is the difficulty of the mind and how to conquer that difficulty. He will tell us. Okay. The key that shall open the door of truth. In the Jnana Yoga, proper, more particularly in the Jnana Yoga. And a purified understanding is hardly possible without the purification of the other members. If the vital is not purified, the vital is going on imposing its own ideas and its own desires and attachments on the mind. Okay? So, the vital also has to be purified. It has to be completely separated. The three must become clearly separated. Mind, life and body. But now they are all mixed. Each one is interacting with the others. Okay? That's the whole problem. Sattva, Rajas, Tamas are constantly mixing. An unpurified heart, an unpurified sense, okay, an unpurified life confuse the understanding, disturb its data, distort its conclusions, darken its seeing, misapply its knowledge. Now let's have a very clear look at each one. An unpurified heart. Okay? The heart has got wrong, it's got some noble thoughts. Okay? It has got love, it has got understanding, it has got sympathy. But it has also got hate, it has also got selfishness, it has also got sense of superiority, pride. All these things are unpurified heart. An unpurified sense. Now that is interesting. What is meant by purified sense? Now look at, if two people or three people are looking at a particular thing, each one will have a different sense. Okay? Take for instance very clearly, as I said, a bitter fruit. Okay? The Karela. I love to give that example because it's so clear. I am explaining what is the unpurified sense. Okay? Now when you are eating the Karela, one person will love it and one person will hate it. Now how can that be? Because the Karela is the same for everybody. That is the unpurified sense. When the sense becomes purified, you get the essential taste of the bitterness and you will enjoy it. So that is the unpurified sense. Liking and disliking are the clear unpurified sense. When there is purified sense, there is only liking or a neutral condition. You will neither like nor dislike. That is what I meant by unpurified sense. Okay? Physically, liking, disliking. An unpurified life. When he uses the word life, he means a lower vital. The heart is a higher vital. Okay? So, unpurified sense, unpurified life, confuse the understanding, disturb its data, distort its conclusions. So, very clearly you can understand what it is. The data coming in is the Kerala as it is. But you are disturbing the data and distorting its conclusions. One is liking, one is not liking. So you are distorting what the Kerala really is. Okay? Darken its seeing. Okay? You liking and disliking will not make you see the truth. Misapply its logic, that is knowledge. Okay? The knowledge that comes in, you are misapplying. This is good, that is bad. An unpurified physical system clogs and chokes up its action. So, normally when you have some problem, physical problems, it is not working perfectly well. Note the words clog and chokes up. Okay? And that is exactly what the, what is it called, the Chinese, the flow of currents in the nerves, you correct with these needles. What is it called? Acupuncture. Okay?
Acupressure.
Yeah,
And acupuncture.
That's right. So when you do that, the points where it is getting clogged, okay, in the nerves, that clears the passage. It's like a river that is being choked up with flotsam and jetsam. And then you clear that. Then the flow of the current is pure and constant. So even the physical system clogs and chokes up its action. Sometimes you can have the problem that I am having now, okay, constipation. It is clogging up, okay. So this is the thing that he is talking about. There must be integral purity. So integral purity, the mind must be clear, the vital must be pure, the body must be without any disease. Here also there is an interdependence. For the purification of each member of our being profits by the clarifying of every other. So, if your mind understands, okay, that your vital should be pure, desires are not desirable, okay, then you improve, you benefit. So, the more the mind becomes clear, the more you benefit from the vital. Then that's what he's saying. The progressive tranquilization of the emotional heart, helping, for instance, the purification of the understanding. The more your vital is pure, your understanding also will improve. The interaction between mind and vital will improve. Okay? While equally, a purified understanding imposes calm and light on the turbid and darkened workings of the yet impure emotions. So when the mind becomes clear, your nature becomes sattvic. When your vital is very disturbed and full of desires, it is the rajasic element in you which is overtaking you. But the mind becomes pure sattva, then certainly it helps the rajas also to become pure. And that which was ego, attachment and desire starts becoming pure energy. Not energy directed in the wrong way to anything. It becomes pure. On the turbid and darkened workings of the yet impure emotions. It may even be said that while each member of our being has its own proper principles of purification, okay, yet it is a purified understanding that in man is the most potent cleanser of his turbid and disordered being and most sovereignly imposes their right working on the other members. Now let's look at what he is saying. It may even be said that while each member of our being has its own proper principles of purification. How do you purify the mind? By concentration and rejecting of thoughts. How do you purify the vital? By burning up your desires. Okay? So, a very interesting letter to Shahanadi from Sri Aurobindo. Shahanadi is saying, in Bengali. She used to write in Bengali and she used to often reply in English on the margin of the letter. And she told him, I'm suddenly feeling like eating fish. Okay. So Sundar replied, certainly not. Okay. You can eat your desires. Eat up your desire and not the fish. Okay. So that is how you have to purify the body. How do we purify the body? That is not mentioned, but we also know how to do that. Discipline and regularity. Okay? Discipline and regularity will make you live long. Okay? This is very clear between those who are outside and those who are in the ashram. Because the discipline is very intense. You have to go to a particular time for your work. You have to go to a particular time in the dining room, otherwise you won't get your food. So regularity and discipline definitely will give you a long life. Okay? So that is the purification of the relatively. That's not the only way, but then certainly if you are and very regular the use of the body, okay, then it will give you longevity. So, knowledge, says the Gita, is a sovereign purity. Jnanagni, says in the Gita, Jnanagni, it is a fire of knowledge that purifies the entire being. Light is the source of all clearness and harmony, even as the darkness of ignorance is the cause of all our stumblings. Very clear. Love, for example, is a purifier of the heart, and by reducing all our emotions into terms of divine love, the heart is perfected and fulfilled. So, turn all your emotions to the divine, including all your defects in the vital. Okay? Even the heart. There are very fine elements in the higher vital. Patriotism, sympathy, love for others, okay, less selfishness, generosity, all these wonderful characters are there in the higher vital, their heart. But they are ego-based. So that ego-based has to go. When you do something good to somebody, you are doing some good work. But the ego takes pleasure in that and claims that it is itself doing it. Egoism comes in even into your highest qualities, okay, gunas. Knowledge, says the Gita, is a sovereign purifier. Light is the source of all clearness and harmony. Even in the darkness of ignorance is the cause of all our stumblings. Love, for example, is a purifier of the heart, and by reducing all our emotions into terms of divine love, the heart is perfected and fulfilled. Yet, love itself needs to be clarified by divine knowledge. Look at the Christian idea that you have to go only through Christ if you want to get the divine. So that's a complete misunderstanding of the whole thing. Or even the other religion where you say you have to accept only the Islamic idea. Otherwise you are not worth living. Okay? You are better off dead than living if you don't accept the Allah. Okay? So that is it needs to be clarified. The heart's love of God may be blind. He is very clearly mentioning what is narrow and ignorant and lead to fanaticism and obscurantism. Okay. Completely, your love can be absolutely overtaken by the wrong ideas and thoughts that come. Fanaticism and obscurity. Fanaticism, insisting only on one truth and not the others. It may, even when otherwise pure, limit our perfection by refusing to see Him except in His limited personality. Very clear what he is saying. To see Him, H cap. So he is meaning the divine. Okay. So you see Him only in a limited personality. Either the Jesus Christ or the Muhammad. Okay. Limited personality. And or you can extend it even to others. You must be able to see the divine in everybody, even persons that you hate. Okay. except in a limited personality, and by recoiling from the true and infinite basis. The heart's love of man, not divine, huh? Now he is talking of the heart's love of man, may equally lead to distortions and exaggerations in feeling, action and knowledge, which have to be corrected and prevented by the purification of the understanding. Okay? Now very clearly what he is saying here, human love can lead to distortion. It's very, very clear what he is saying. When you love somebody and that love is not returned, it turns into hate. The newspaper is full of reports that this fellow threw acid on his girlfriend, this fellow murdered his girlfriend, full of, every day you will see, at least in my paper, the Times of India. Okay? So human love is full of distortions and exaggeration. Feeling, action and knowledge, even action, you can take the wrong action, okay, which have to be corrected and prevented by the purification of the understanding. So, the understanding, the mind purification is very, very important in the interior yoga. So, Srivando in fact says, interior yoga starts with soul in mind. The whole concentration starts from there. So, he is given. What about the Jnana yoga? You start with soul in the heart. What about the Hatha yoga? You start with the divine in the body. But in the interior yoga, you extend it afterwards to other areas, but in the interior yoga, you start with the soul in the mind. You start purifying the mind. Okay. It's 8:42 already, so we stop here today. We have done 2 paras. Next time we'll do, we must, however, consider deeply and clearly what we mean by the understanding and its purification. How do you do it? Okay. So, this is what we'll take up next time. So, au revoir everybody.